All right. Did you all come prepared to receive from the Lord? Yeah. Not only are you going to hear an amazing word from my good friend, Pastor Chris Sonksen, but you're going to hear about what God is doing through Church Rescue. And it is such an honor to have Chris here. I consider him a friend, a mentor. He's just an amazing person. Love Chris. Was introduced to him through Bishop Tony Dung, a mutual friend of ours. So it's just been a blessing just being in relationship and in connection with Church Boom, Church Rescue. And so you're going to hear some amazing things today. So church, I want you to put your hands together and I want you to welcome up Chris Sonksen. Come on, let's give him a great hand. All right. Good morning. Oh, man, that was amazing. Don't sit down. Keep applauding. No, sorry. No, you feel it. No, sit down, please. I'm totally playing. How's everybody doing today? Oh, come on, man. You're in church. You're in the best place to be all week long. Let's try that one more time. How's everybody doing today? Yeah. Come on, I want you to lean in this morning. I want you to laugh when it's not funny. I want you to hang out and have a good time. I think church should be a blast. Put a big smile on your face. Try to get focused because I think God's got something for you today. If I've never met you before, my name is Chris Sonksen, and I am the founding pastor of South Hills Church. I don't do the day-to-day anymore. We grew that church to about 12 campuses. I don't do the day-to-day anymore. I gave that day-to-day to someone else. I'm still involved, but primarily spend my time with Church Boom. We do two things. We coach pastors and we rescue dying churches that are getting down to 30, 20, need some help. We help them out. I don't know if you know this, but America is closing 3 churches for every one that opens. 3 churches close for every one that opens. How many believe with me? Come on, something's got to be done about that. That's happening on our watch, and we're talking about the bride of Christ. I don't want to meet Jesus and him say, what did you guys do? You know, I want to make sure we do something. So we are fighting to keep churches open. I'll talk about at the end and what God is doing. It's been extraordinary, but I will talk about that at the end. And a little bit more about me. Been married this June. I'll be married for 35 years. Oh, yeah. Oh, she's hot. And she's Mexican. I call her my little hot tamale. And she doesn't speak in English, but that helps us get along. We don't really know what to argue about because we don't even understand each other. And we have 2 children. We have 3 grandchildren. They are amazing. And we've lived in Southern California our whole life. We lived in Southern California, but 8 months ago, the grandchildren, because of a new job with our son-in-law, moved to Arkansas. And so now we live somewhat in Arkansas. And I got to tell you, Arkansas is very different than Southern California. I'm learning to chew now. It's a thing I'm doing. But no, I'm just playing. But it's very different. It's very different. But anyway, hey, if you got your Bible, go to the book of Genesis. It's going to be the very first chapter, very first book in the Bible. If you don't have a Bible, next time at a hotel, get one. They're free. I steal them and I sell them on eBay. I'm trying to save churches, people. Well, I want to look at that. I want to introduce you to a friend of mine this morning. Put him on the screen if you could. This is my buddy right here. His name is Cam. Everybody say Cam. All right, so here's what happened. A few years back, I meet Cam, and here's how I meet Cam. Here in Southern California, in Orange County, my wife and I lived there many, many, many years, and I normally got my hair cut from this hair salon place where my wife gets her hair cut. But I was going to go back out on the road, which I do a lot of traveling, and I was like, man, I got to get my hair cut. The girl that cuts my hair was gone. So I thought, man, I got to get a haircut. So I went to a barber shop. Now, this is a man's man barber shop. And I walk in, and the only guy available to cut my hair is Cam. Now, this is a cool barber shop. I've kept going there. I've been going there for years now. But they're all cool. And it's a big barber shop called Shark Tank. And you walk in, and there's probably 15, 20 chairs. It's a huge barber shop. And all the guys there are just really cool. Like, you know, they're African-American guys, white guys, there's Asian, Hispanic, whatever. They're all tatted up and everybody's cool. And for some reason, they like this guy. So when I walk in, they all want to do a handshake with me. Like, hey, and I don't know what to do because I'm not cool. Marlando found that extra funny, which really hurts my feelings. But everybody, I'm in there like, hey man, how you doing? And I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to bunt or what. I literally get lost every time, and they laugh at me every time. I just don't have that, you know. Anyway, I'm getting my hair cut, you know, and from camp first time, and then I go back, and I keep going to camp. Now, about a couple months into getting my haircut from camp, I sit down and he goes, hey man, when we're done with the haircut, I want to take you outside and I want to show you my brand new car. I said, all right, whatever. So we get done with the haircut, we go outside. I don't know anything about cars. It's a Dodge Challenger Demon. And it's demon possessed. And it does like 0 to 60 in like 2.8 seconds. Mine does 0 to 60 about an hour and a half, but his is really fast. On a downhill with a good wind. And we get in this car, and it is brand new Dodge Challenger Demon. And it starts it up, you know, and we get going in this car. Couple things. First of all, he's flying down the road, and I am scared to death. I'm holding on, I'm buckled up, I'm like this. He's doing 120, I looked over, in a 35-mile-an-hour zone. And I'm like, dude, he's flying, and he's cracking up because I'm hanging on. Also, he's got about 19 speakers in his trunk. And he's got this reggae, kind of rap reggae music going on, and it's just boom, boom, and it's just loud as ever, you know. I'm not a 19-speaker guy. You don't need 19 speakers to listen to a podcast. Not necessary. So we're flying down the road. We're doing 120. The music's going. He's laughing. I'm hanging on. And honest to God, I am scared to death. And I'm hanging on like this. And then all of a sudden, the light turns red, a little bit away. And he stops. The music's cranking. Just boom, boom. He's laughing. I'm still hanging on, scared to death. Then a car pulls up next to us, husband and wife. They look over, and I look over at them, and they're like, Pastor Chris? It's me. I'm the new jelly roll. And we get done with this horrendous ride, which I will never do again, and we go back. And now we build friendship. Me and my buddy Cam, we build a friendship, and we start going. We go out to dinner sometimes together, hang out, whatever. So about, 6, 7, 8 months in to get my hair cut, we're out one time, and he starts opening up to me. And he's like, hey man, I want to tell you about my life. And he goes, I've been addicted to drugs most of my life. I mean, he's just fully admitting it. He goes, I've been in and out of jail many, many times, prison, whatever. And I said, really? And I said, I go, since you were like, how old? He goes, 13. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I grew up in Atlanta. I was 13 years old. I was doing drugs, and I was delivering drugs for my dad. I said, you're 13, you're doing drugs, you're delivering drugs, and you're still doing this thing today. And I said, man, Cam, your dad, has he been in and out of jail? Oh, his whole life. I go, have you been in and out of jail more than him? He said, yeah. And I go, well, Cam, let me just help you out. I said, there's something called the generational cycle. I said, you got a dad that's been in and out of jail and does drugs. You're doing more drugs, and you're dealing and going in and out of jail and all that more than your dad. You are dating a girl you want to marry. Let's say you have a little boy. I go, Cam, just out of curiosity, what do you think that little boy's going to do? And he said, probably drugs. And I said, please understand. There's this generational cycle that's happening, Cam, that kind of moves from left to right. Now, on that day, I wanted to show Cam a little bit of how that looks. So I put a little thing together on a napkin, and it looked something like this. I go, kind of like this, Cam. I said, you kind of have your grandparents, then you kind of, maybe your grandpa, or your dad, and then you, and then maybe your son someday. And I said, Cam, do you notice in the little drawing what's different? And he goes, I noticed the baton that they're happening to each generation. What do you guys notice? It's getting what? Darker. I said, Cam, it just gets darker as it goes along. And he's like, man, I never really thought about that way. And I said, that's what happens. And so on that day, I taught Cam the 3 laws of the family script. 3 laws of the family script. Here's law number 1. Help me out, everybody in the house. The issue, what does what? And it typically gets what? Remember on that little sketch with the little stick figures? It's traveling, isn't it? It's traveling, and it's getting darker. Okay? And I looked at Cam and I go, bro, you got to understand. I go, the issue always travels and it typically just keeps getting darker. And he began to understand that. Now, let's take a little time out. You might be sitting here going, man, that's great for Cam. You know, the guy's, and you're talking to this guy that's dealing drugs and on drugs, but that's not my life. But here's the reality. We all have junk in our life. Yes or no? Stuff we shouldn't be doing, stuff we shouldn't be thinking, things about our life, things about our emotions. Maybe you can recognize yourself in one of these. Put it on the screen for me. Maybe this is you. Maybe you have fear, lying. Maybe you avoid conflict. Maybe you have a fear of commitment, laziness. Maybe you suppress emotions. Maybe you have a bad attitude sometimes. Maybe you have greed, quick temper, cheating, hard time forgiving, insecurity, unhealthy mindset, envy. I don't know what yours is. Maybe it's up here, maybe it's like Cam's, or maybe it's something totally different. But here's what I want everybody to do. Come on, because you're going to get something out of today in a big way. I want you to lock in on that one thing that's like, that is not good about me, and I don't like it. And I don't, again, if you're 15 or 85, doesn't matter. I don't want this continuing in my life, and I sure don't want it continuing in the people that I love. So what is the one thing? Lock in on that one thing. It's like, that's not good. It may be a secret sin that nobody knows about except for you and God. I don't know what it is, but what is that one thing? It's just like, man, I don't want it happening in my life anymore. Now, I want to introduce to you 3 characters in the Bible. Every time one character is mentioned, they're always mentioned together, okay? See if you know them, what I'm talking about. All 3 guys are mentioned together in the Old Testament. Every time. Abraham, what's the next guy mentioned normally? Isaac, what's the third guy? Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Basically, 3 generations. Grandpa, dad, son, whatever. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, these guys are men of God. They love God. They did extraordinary things for God. One of them's known as the hero of the faith. I mean, they're a big deal in the Bible. But I'm going to show you that they had a family secret that most of us probably have never picked up on before. It's something that was an issue that was traveling, and it was getting darker in their life. And just like everybody, even though Abraham's this wonderful guy, and he is, man of God, but just like you and me, he struggled with something, and the issue traveled, help me out, and it typically gets what? Darker, and it's going to get darker. You're going to see it. So let's go to the first guy. Ready? Here we go. Put Abraham on the screen. Say Abraham. Yeah. This dude is popular. This guy's known as the hero of the faith. This guy's known as, the father of many nations. He's one of the only guys that's got a song about him. Anybody grow up with that song? Father Abraham, and his sons, and his son. Okay, some of you can't sing. Let's bring that down. Outside, the rocks are just crying out. Now, Abraham, wonderful guy, father of many nations, man of God, man of faith. I mean, he's huge in the Bible, one of the biggest. But look what happens in Genesis chapter 12, verse 11 through 13. As he was approaching Egypt, Abraham said to his wife Sarai, later on Sarah, said, "Look, you are a very beautiful woman. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Let's tell them, then we can have her. So please tell them," help me out, "you are my what?" We're going to come back to why that's so important in a minute. "Then they will spare my life and treat me well because of their interest in you." Now, here's basically what Abraham is saying. Abraham looks at Sarah and says, "Look, man, you're beautiful, and if you tell everybody we're married, this isn't going to turn out good. So I want you to lie and say that you're my sister." Now, in our little 2026 world and mind, we're all looking at going, that's just a white lie, man. No big deal. You're just a white lie so that you can protect yourself and you can protect your wife. I mean, that seems like a legitimate lie. Here's the problem. First of all, he's breaking God's command, doesn't want him to lie. But the other thing is, he never had to lie before. He's never had to lie before. God always has come through for him. God always delivered for him. God never failed him. Why did he have to lie this time? He lied. No matter how you look at it, he lied. Now, that's one thing that he lied, but here's the problem. The problem with his lie is he continues to do it. In Genesis 20, a few chapters later, he does it again. He lies a second time. And then he tries to make an excuse of why he lied. Anytime you're trying to make an excuse, you know you're wrong. You're just trying to feel better about it. So he lies not once. Help me out, everybody in the house. He lied not once, but how many times? Twice. Then he makes an excuse about it. This is not just he lied once. He lied twice. This is a guy that God's always come through for him. And now all of a sudden he's starting to lie because he doesn't think that God's going to come through for him. Now, he's about to learn the second law of the family script because he's going to have a son named Isaac. Law number 1 was what? Issue travels and typically gets what? Okay, law number 2, put it on the screen for me. What doesn't get repaired gets repeated. What doesn't get repaired gets repeated. He's about to learn. Abraham's going to learn the law of the family script number 2. What doesn't get repaired gets repeated. Okay, help me out again. Abraham lies not once, but how many times? He has a son named Isaac. Okay, and what's he about to learn? What doesn't get repaired gets repeated. Abraham doesn't repair it. He lies not once but twice and makes an excuse about it. Now he has a son named Isaac. And because he did not repair it in his life, it's going to get repeated in Isaac. The generational tie is going to keep on going. Now, let's take a look at Isaac, okay? Let's put it on the screen. Here's Isaac. Isaac's a great guy, loves God, does incredible things for God, trusts God, miracles done through him, all that. But dad lied. And what doesn't get repaired gets repeated. It gets passed on to his son Isaac. The issue is traveling one more time, and now it's getting what? It's getting darker. You watch what happens. It's going to get a little darker. Here we go. Now, Genesis 26. Now, I want you to hang on to this. We'll put the verse up there if we could. Genesis 26, verse 7. Okay, I want you to see if you notice anything. Pay real close attention. Do you notice anything about his lie? Okay, let's take a look at it. It says, when the man who lived there asked Isaac about his wife, Rebekah, he said, she is my what? Does that sound at all familiar to you? She's my sister. He was afraid to say she's my wife. He thought they would kill me to get to her because she is so beautiful. I don't know if you've ever caught this before. This is insane. Abraham lies and tells his wife, Sarah, tell everybody you're my sister. Then he lies again. And then here comes the crazy part. Okay? Over 50 years later, Isaac does the same exact lie. Hey, Rebecca, tell everybody you're my sister. Because otherwise, how does he do that? See, and this is crazy. Abraham lied about telling him my sister, lied, him and his wife lied 25 years before Isaac was even born. Nowhere in the Bible does it say Abraham said, one day I lied about your mom being my sister. No, how does he lie about the same thing? Not kinda, the same exact thing. How is that possible? Put it on the screen for me. Here it is. Children learn patterns before they learn words. That's why. Children learn patterns before they learn words. They saw it. Abraham lied not once but twice about, she's my sister. Lie about that. Isaac, decades later, lies and says, Rebecca's just my sister, my wife. Why? Because children learn patterns before they learn words. The issue is traveling and it's getting darker, and what doesn't get repaired gets repeated. That's what's happening in this story. It's an incredible. You see the lying, it's getting worse. You see how it's traveling all throughout that. Several years ago, my son was coming home. I was going to see him later that day. He was coming home from college. Hadn't seen him in a while. Excited to see him. But earlier on in that day, there's a Chipotle right near our house and near our offices in Southern California. How many have ever been to Chipotle before? Come on, raise your hand. How many get mad when they give you the meat? Come on, they scoop and they go, I want to reach over and go, come on, Instead, they give you all this lettuce like I'm a rabbit. And Anyway, I walk into this Chipotle. It is a monster line. Going back, it's a big old line, and I'm like, man, this is going to take forever. Not only was it a big line, they kept running out of things. So when they run out of something that a person wants, the whole line has to stop before they bring more whatever out. Right? If you've ever been to Chipotle, you go down a line like this, and you tell them what you want for your burrito, taco, burrito bowl, whatever it is you're making, right? But if they run out of something, then you got to kind of stop and everybody's got to wait. They kept running out. Finally, I get up there. And then I'll take a bowl. So they start putting it together. They run out of something, right? And I'm standing there, we're waiting, probably 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, it was bad. And I'm standing there next to this lady. She's probably in her late 30s, right? Beautiful lady. And she starts talking to me. And we're waiting, so there's nothing else to do. So I'm like, I start talking, and she says something, I said something. She kind of laughed. We kind of cutting up a little bit. And she keeps talking to me, and she's getting nicer and friendlier. And I'm thinking in my mind, she's flirting with me. Now, you got to realize why this is such a big deal. No one flirts with me. Ever. I know what I am, and I know what I'm not. Good looking, I am not. I understand that. I am not Pastor Marlando. He's the Denzel Washington of Sozo Church. Look at him. You look at him and you just think equalizer. He just naturally. But I know what I am. I know what I'm not. And now we start going down the line again, and she's talking to me more and more, and I'm thinking, this never happens for me. It is so rare, you guys. I grab my phone out of my pocket, and I text my wife. You're not going to believe it. Someone's flirting with me. My wife's response, no way. Impossible! Exclamation point. Now, we finally get to the part, where you got to pay for it. And the lady behind the counter, says to me and this gal, she says, are you two together? She's asking, are you paying together? That's what she meant. But this lady, the one next to me, took it as, are you guys together? So she says, are you guys together? And then she goes, oh, him? Oh, no, never. About me. I text my wife, never mind. False alarm. Back to normal. That ended that. I felt encouraged and I left Chipotle. Finally end up going home. My son's home. I go inside. He's home from college, as I said. I walk inside his room, give him a big hug. Oh, son, it's so good to see you, blah, blah, blah. I look on the wall, and there's a little hole in the wall. And I said, hey, that hole wasn't there this morning. He goes, oh, I was trying to put something up, and I got so mad it wouldn't go right, so I punched it. And I'm like, what are you, nuts? Like, you come home and you put a hole in my wall, Blah, blah, blah. And so I go, and I see my wife in the other room, and I said, do you see what happened there? And I go, he punched a hole in the wall. I go, he's so impatient. Because he is. And my wife looked at me and she goes, and where did you think he learned that from? And I said, from you. You got issues. No, he learned it from me. My son is insanely impatient. I am impatient. My dad, who passed away a couple years ago, he is the author of impatience. He's on his deathbed. This is taking too long. He's just so impatient. He's crazy. And now, I'm watching this in my son, and I'm like, okay, the issue's traveling, and it's getting darker. What doesn't get repaired, what happened, is getting what? Repeated in my son. That's just impatience. What is it in you that they're going to pick up, that you think they're not going to pick up because it's a secret? Really? You don't think they're going to pick up the DNA? It doesn't get repaired, it gets repeated. Doesn't matter if they see it or not. Children learn patterns before they learn words. Now, check out Isaac. Isaac's about to learn the third law of the family script. He's going to learn it because he's going to have a son named Jacob. Here's the third law of the family script. If you don't deal with it now, they'll deal with it next. If you don't deal with it now, they'll deal with it next. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be a sin. It could just be something of, man, whatever it is, your insecurity, your lack of ability to say I love you, your inability to forgive people, your impatience, your anger, your resentment, whatever, greed, I don't know, selfishness, whatever it may be, it's gonna pass on. If you don't deal with it now, they'll deal with it next. Now, let's go to Jacob. Put it on the screen. Here's the third guy in the whole story. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Okay, now watch with me on this. Abraham, say it one more time now. Abraham not lied once, but he lied how many times? And he made an excuse about it. Here's what's interesting. Isaac does the same exact lie, but you know what's interesting? He doesn't even make an excuse. Look throughout the scripture. He doesn't make an excuse. Abraham did. Isaac didn't. You know why? Because it's getting worse. This is just our family. We just lie. We lie in order to make sense. Now Jacob comes along. Okay? And if you don't deal with it now, they'll deal with it next. Jacob's about to deal with it himself. Okay, now here's the thing about Jacob. You may not know this. In the Old Testament, not in the New Testament, for some reason in the Old Testament, Jacob, the word actually meant deceiver. Now, hold on. Maybe you don't find the humor in it. I find the humor in a lot of things. Name your kid deceiver? Wow. Imagine how wild that is. I mean, literally, it'd be like coming up to Pastor Megan and come up next week. Say you guys are pregnant. You and your wife are pregnant, okay? And you have a little baby, and you come up to both of them next week, and you're like, "Look at our little boy." And then Megan, she says, "Oh, what'd you name him?" "Oh, his name is Deceiver Manipulative Johnson." "Oh, isn't he gorgeous? 7 pounds, 2 ounces of pure deceit." Like, who names their kid Deceiver? It's such an awkward thing. But they do. They name their kid Deceiver. And he was. Now, here's what's interesting. He lies in Genesis 25. Now, this is interesting. In Genesis 25, he lies to his brother to get ahead financially. In Genesis 27, he lies to his dad in order to rip him off and get more money. Okay, did you notice that? Over here, he lies not once but twice, Abraham. He lies, doesn't even try to make an excuse about it, Isaac. And now Jacob's lying not out of fear. Do you notice what changed? Put it on the screen for me. Lying moves from being a symptom, put it up there for me if we could, to being a strategy. You see how that changed? It was a symptom. Oh, we lied because I was afraid and I didn't want my wife to get hurt. Isaac, I lied because I was afraid I didn't want my wife to get hurt. Jacob, I lied to get ahead financially. It's not a symptom anymore. It's a strategy. The issue is traveling. It's getting darker. It's getting darker. What doesn't get repaired gets repeated. And if you don't deal with it now, Isaac, they'll deal with it next. Jacob. And you see that happening right down the line. But here's the hope. It doesn't have to stay this way, you guys. We can fix it. We can make it better. It doesn't have to be that way. We can fix it. The past may describe you, but it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't. You can change it. You can make it better. My wife and I recently, we were going through some boxes. And we were just looking, I don't know if you've ever done that, going through boxes. Oh my gosh, remember that? It's really fun. And we're going through a few boxes and we're going through all this stuff. Now, we came across some gifts that I've given her over the years. Now, if you know anything about me, I don't like normal gifts. I don't like here's a sweater or perfume or whatever. That's not me. I like it to be unique. I like it to be different. Ask my family. It's always different. It's always creative. And I just like that. I like giving something unique. A few years back, she came across one of the gifts. A few years back, I remember driving down the road. We're about 3 weeks away from Christmas. We're driving down the road, me and my wife. And my wife always is nosy about gifts. And so we're driving down the freeway, and she looks over at me as we're driving, and she goes, "Hey, it's 3 weeks to Christmas." She goes, "Have you got my gift yet?" And I said, "Actually, this was a few years ago." I looked at her, I go, "Actually, I have." She goes, "It's 21 days until Christmas, and you already have my gift?" And I said, "Well, actually," I said, "I bought it December 26th of last year." She goes, "You bought my gift the day after Christmas of last year?" I said, "Yes, that's when the sales are happening. And I got to save money." She goes, "You bought my gift December 26th last year?" Then she gets even more bold and she goes, "Well, how much did it cost?" I go, "You're so nosy." And I said, "But you know what? I'm going to tell you this year." I said, "I bought it December 26th of last year." And I said, "And it cost $7. She looked at me with this evil And she's all, $7? You bought my gift December 26th of last year and it was only $7. She goes, what is it? And I said, no, you're going to find out Christmas Day. Christmas Day rolls around, everybody's at the house, blah, blah, blah. I give her my gift. She opens it up. It's 2 journals that I bought from Walgreens for $7. And I started on December 26th, and I finished exactly 1 year later on Christmas morning. And I wrote 1 full page every single day. I wrote 1 full page in there on reasons, 365 reasons why I love you. Now, let me tell you what's happening in the room right now. The women hear 365 reasons why I love you, and all the women go, all the men are going, jerk. That sweater doesn't look so good, you got it for Christmas, does it? I love giving creative gifts. But we also went through that box and found something from our youth group days. I didn't grow up in church. I didn't grow up in a Christian home. That wasn't our gig. But I ended up going to church when I was like 14, 15 years old. I had a buddy when I was 15 years old. I got invited to a church and started going to a church. And I went to a youth group, got saved in a youth group. And my buddy was 15 years old. His name was Eddie. Me and him were the best of friends. And we hung out at the youth group. We hung out at church on Sunday. I'd ride my bike sometimes to church or youth group or whatever. And, and Sunday morning we'd be hanging out. We just hang out all the time. Eddie Abarano. His mom, Mrs. Abarano. Here's what I always noticed back when I was 15 years old. That when Eddie was going to walk away from his mom, or we were going to go across the street to the gas station to get some candy for church, which is kind of a typical thing to do. We had this little place we'd go to. He would always say, okay, I'll see you, Mom. And she would always say, Mrs. Abarone would always say, okay, I love you, Eddie. And he would say, I love you too. And then we'd take off together. Well, one day, I'm standing there in church, and Eddie goes, I got to go to the bathroom before church starts. So he takes off, goes to the bathroom. I'm just standing there with Mrs. Abarano. I'm 15 years old. I don't know anything. I'm just a kid. Only been saved for 8 months, as a little teenage believer now, whatever. And I'm standing there with Mrs. Abarano. And I looked at Mrs. Abarano. I said, Mrs. Abarano, I have a question for you. And she goes, sure, Chris. What is it? And I said, every time you say goodbye to Eddie, you always say, I love you. Why do you do that? And she realized in her adult mind that this 15-year-old found that very, very weird. I was like, why do you do that? And she looked at me and she says, does your dad ever do? I go, my dad's never told me he loved me, ever. Now, we repaired it before he passed away, but he never has told me he loved me, ever. And she looked at me and she said, Chris, she goes, I don't know your dad and I don't know your grandpa, but I bet your grandpa never told him they loved him, and now he's not telling you. Well, a little side note, I did ask my dad later that day, and my dad says, no, grandpa never said he loved me. So she says to me, your grandpa never says, I love you to your dad never says, I love you to you. And she looked at me and she said, Chris, at some point, someone's going to have to break this generational tie. Someone's got to change it. You know what she was telling me? What my shirt says, what that says? She was really saying, hey, Chris, you got to do what? Come on, help me out. You got to what? You got to rewrite the script, man. Let me tell you what the script's happening in your family. We don't say I love you. We don't show expression. We don't share feelings. Is that the way you want your life to be? And she's basically saying, look, it's going down from generation to generation. And at some point, Chris, you're going to have to rewrite the script. Otherwise, it's just going to keep on happening. And I determined in my little 15-year-old mind, I thought, that seems right. What do I know? I'm 15. I'm like, that seems right. And I was like, I'm going to fix this. Well, I got married, and I've told my wife every day, I love you. If we're not together, I travel a lot, I text her I love you. I told my kids every day, I love you. Now my daughter's got 3 kids of her own, and she smothers them with love. I am not smart. I was not brilliant. I was just a 15-year-old punk, but I got it in my head. I needed to rewrite the script, and I rewrote the script and changed it forever in our family. Whatever it is that you had going on, you can rewrite that script. Now, let's go back to the story of Jacob. Jacob decides one day it's time to rewrite the script. Stay with me. Look at this real quick. Here we go. Running out of time, so I want to get moving. Here we go. This left Jacob all alone in the camp. Chapter 32, verse 24 to 28. And a man, now that we find out later that man is an angel. So Jacob is hanging out with an angel. And an angel came and wrestled with him until the dawn began to break. When the angel, saw that he would not win the match, he touched Jacob's hip and wrenched it out of socket. Then the man said, let me go, for the dawn is breaking. Now here's where it comes. But Jacob said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. I love verse 27. He says, what? Come on, what? Okay, now stop right there. Just leave it up there for a second. Why is that so important? Okay, I'm not saying I'm theologically correct, but I'm going to step out and see if you agree with me. If he's an angel, I'm just thinking he already knows Jacob's name. That would seem fairly logical. I think that's a stretch. Okay, it's not a big stretch. So why does the angel say to Jacob, hey, what's your name? When he already knew the name. Now, what does Jacob mean? Okay, hold on. Here's my opinion. The angel's going, Jacob, I need you to admit to me you're a deceiver. I need you to own it, Jacob. I need you to own it. This is your problem. I need you to say it. I already know your name. I want you to say it because I need you to own it. You see, because Jacob could have easily said, well, it ain't my fault. You don't understand the home I grew up in. My dad lies. My grandpa lies. This is just the way we are. He could have made all the excuses. He could have played the victim. But you know what I've noticed? Those that play the victim rarely get the victory. You got to at some point own it. Own it. And just like, yeah, maybe your dad was abusive. Maybe mom was abusive. Maybe they abandoned you. Maybe you grew up in an orphanage home. Maybe you went from foster home to foster. Maybe your dad didn't say, I love you. I don't know. Whatever it is. But at some day, somewhere, you got to own it. And you got to just say, man, I'm not playing the victim card anymore because that's never going to get me the victory. He says, your name will no longer be Jacob. The man told them, from now on, you will be called Israel, because you have fought with God and man, and you have won. Jacob meant deceiver. Israel meant God ruled in your life. Jacob, you're no longer the deceiver. You are now the guy that God rules in your life. You see what the angel did on that day? The angel switched it from him focusing on his character, focusing on his calling. It changed. It changed. And from that point forward, if you follow Jacob's life, it started to change. Now, I'm not saying it was overnight, but then his kids started to change. Then his grandkids started to change. All because one day Jacob said enough was enough. I'm going to fix it right now. And that's what Jacob did. Jacob did that and said, man, my family is a family of lies and deceits, and I'm not going to be that anymore. Okay, a little kid at 15 years old talking to Mrs. Aberano said, I am not going to be that guy that doesn't express love or feelings or emotions. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to do that thing. And let me tell you one more time, put Cam, if you could put Cam back on the screen for me, my buddy Cam. Let's go back to Cam if we could. I want to tell you real quick with Cam, my buddy that cuts my hair. He got him a Bible, and he started reading it. Then he went to church. Then he gave his life to Jesus. Just recently, a while back, he celebrated his 5th year of being drug-free. Let me give you one more about Cam. He didn't graduate high school, but he graduates this year with a bachelor's from a university. You know why he did it? Because one day he just decided, I'm going to rewrite the script. Jacob did it, said, I'm not going to be a family of liars at age 60. Cam did it and said, we're not going to be addicts anymore at age 30. A 15-year-old kid did it and said, we're going to learn to express our emotions at age 15. 60, 30, 15. You're never too young. You're never too old to rewrite the script. You can rewrite the script in your life. Now, wherever you need to rewrite it, rewrite it. You're never too old. You're never too young. We're not going to be like this anymore in our family. I see this in my family. We're not doing that anymore. We're going to change it. From now on, it's changing. From this point forward, it changes. You can do that. Now, my script that I need to write is different than anybody else. Yours is different than mine, Bob. Mine's different. We're different. My script's different. But there is a script, everyone. Please, please, please lean in these last 3 minutes. There is a script that we all have to rewrite. I'm not responsible for yours, you're not responsible for mine. We each got our own gig going on. However, there is a script that we all need to rewrite, and you know what that script is? It's a script of the local church. America's closing 3 for every 1. That's a script. 80% of all churches are plateaued or declining in America. That's a script. And we've decided we got to do something about it. Churches in America closing at a record pace. These are all scripts from headlines in the last 12 months. Look at this. October 2025, just a few months ago, 15,000 churches could close this year amid religious shift in the U.S. Do you know how many that is? That's 300 every Sunday. Closing in America. Top right, Newsweek. U.S. decline in religion among the biggest in the world. Did you catch what that said? Of all the countries in the world, America's having the fastest decline in faith. Come on, something's got to change. Bottom left, ABC News, churches fight to stay open as attendance dwindles. Bottom right, USA Today, churches are closing faster than new ones are opening in the U.S. Folks, those are some headlines, and I don't know about you, but I get pretty pumped up when I realize this. It's my job, your job, all of our job, those that call themselves believer in America, we got to rewrite the script for the local church. We cannot let this continue to happen this way. It's got to stop. And so we decided about 4.5, 5 years ago, we were going to do something about it, and we started doing something about it. You know what we did 4 or 5 years ago? We created something called, we have Church Boom, but we created a thing called Church Rescue. Kind of like Bar Rescue. They go in and they help the bar get more, they stole the name from us, so we're suing them. But Church Rescue, we take churches that are 20, 30, 40, 50 that are dying, and we help turn them around. We give them a year full of coaching. They don't have to pay for it. We pay for it for free. They get counseling if they need it for free. Counseling for free. We pay it, $125 an hour. They don't pay for it. We pay for them to go on a retreat. Ton of guys were on retreats. This week alone, we had 78 pastors on a retreat. We paid for it. They didn't have to pay for it. 4 days, food, $1,000 per person. And we started rescuing churches. So first it started with 20, then it went to 40. This month alone, we have 400 churches being rescued. 400 churches being rescued. It takes us about 5,000 to rescue a church, so that's 2 million. So I'm like, oh great, I got 60 days to come up with $2 million. So Bob's gonna write a check from his personal account. Thank you, Bob. But we've been rescuing churches for almost 5 years. God's coming through in a big way. You're gonna have an opportunity to give. I pray that you do. Help us. All of it goes to rescue churches. We don't take anything for admin. We don't pay anything from admin. We pay it from something totally different. We just want to rescue a ton of churches. And I think we could rescue 3 here today. And let's rescue some churches. I want to thank you. Real quick, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to grab your phone. I want to give you a free gift. Grab your phone. That's the thing you've been acting like you're taking notes on, but you're texting. And don't act like you're not. I noticed the difference. Put it on the screen for me, the QR code. I just want to give you this book for free. It's 11 different chapters from 11 different pastors who wrote these chapters of churches that got rescued. We've rescued now thousands. This is just 11 really cool stories. It's free. You can have it, whatever. If you want a hard copy, it'll tell you how to get that. You got to pay for shipping or something. I don't know. But digital, it's free. You can have it. I want to show you a video right now of a church in Vermont. A church that is, when we first met them, they were down to 28 people. And they're struggling like crazy. The pastor needed help. They got into the rescue program. They're one of our first ones to get in, probably in the top first 10. They're now averaging close to 500 people on Sunday morning because they've taken everything we've taught them for the last 4 or 5 years, and we've rescued that church. This video is an example of one church of thousands that we've rescued. I want to say thank you for coming to the rescue today, Sozo Church. Thank you for being a partner of ours. We believe rescued churches will rescue people. Yeah. You're going to see that on that video. And I also believe that rescued churches will rescue America. Thank you, Sozo Church, for coming to the rescue. You guys have been amazing. Thank you.
I called the representative of this church, and I just said, hey, listen, what's the vision there? And the response was this: man, we've been without vision for a long time. We're looking for someone to come in and essentially breathe life to this community. I think it was 3 days later, I was headed here. We walked in, we noticed like some friendly people, but just a few people. In fact, our first Sunday pastoring this church, there were 33 people. We did such an incredible job that first Sunday. The next Sunday, there were 28 people. And we knew that we had an uphill climb, but we absolutely knew that God had his hand on this place. We had a vision. We had just an incredible desire to see God do something huge. But there's a big difference between having a vision and having all these ideas and implementation. And that's something that Church Boom does an incredible job in coaching, is the implementation of the strategies and ideas and things and making them come to life and fruition.
God calls us to grow, and God doesn't just call us to comfort. And so moving here, it was definitely not a comfortable choice, but it was a choice of faith in growth. And sometimes with growth comes pain and challenge, but when God gives you the call, all of it is worth it.
We had got pregnant in September of 2022. So we were expecting a baby boy in 2023. He was diagnosed with a disease called CDH. He had 2 tiny little lungs. So so he didn't make it. Yeah, he didn't make it. The support that we had was huge, because to be honest with you, going through that without the people that we have and without our pastors, I don't know how we would have handled that.
It was nice to know that we could heal privately while being prayed for corporately at the same time. Like we were given space to grieve together, but also we had so many community members and church family members that were grieving alongside with us and just taking really good care of us. And we've since welcomed 2 little girls, and they are very wonderful.
So one day, at the end of my rope, depression is at its worst, anxiety is at its worst, and all I'm thinking about is ending my life. So I'm driving around, and I work down the road, so I drove right past the church, and I thought to myself, maybe I should reach out to Vin. Something in my heart told me to reach out to Vinny, because I was going home, I was gonna get my gun, and I was gonna end it because I couldn't deal with it no more. The depression, the anxiety, it was so much that I couldn't take it. And so I messaged Pastor Vinny, and he replied, and he said, come down and see me. If it wasn't for him meeting you in this church, becoming what it is, then I wouldn't be here today.
I believe the Lord is continuing to use all the things we've learned from Church Boom and our continued partnership to really make a mark on Rutland, Vermont, and the entire state of Vermont. Both campuses, all campuses combined, including kids, we're a 500-person church. It's been an incredible journey so far, and it's just beginning.